Oh, I meant to put you. All right. Well, welcome everyone to Unbreakable Faith. I am your host, Michelle Dewitt. I have a wonderful guest with me today. We kind of chopped it up a little bit. This man is awesome, okay? Let me tell you something. He has went from the trenches all the way up, y'all. I'm telling you, he is advocate, community advocate. He was incarcerated, and I'm telling you, a lot of times you don't hear the good on the news, but this one you're gonna hear today. His name is Jor El Lamar. Jorel, welcome to Unbreakable Faith. It is an honor to have you on
Thank you.
today. I'm excited to have you on the show. Those of you that are first time viewers of Unbreakable Faith, let me tell you a little bit about it. We are a organization that help out young adults. We help out youth. We talk to parents. We have workshop with parents, letting parents know, looking for the signs of predators, looking for the signs of teen domestic violence. That workshop I actually do myself. Um, and we also do workshops with youth and young adults, talking to them regards to stalking. When you are in a situation and you feeling uncomfortable, we give you avenues of how to deal with that. Those that have been through trauma, we talk about trauma, and we give ways of how to deal with the trauma. We're not counselors, but I know that going through trauma myself, being molested and being raped by family members, not one, several. Once I went through that, I wanted to make sure that now our youth will have a voice. I want our youth to understand you're not alone, that you have others that have been there. And the same thing, Jarrell, with you being incarcerated. I can tell my story in regards to being incarcerated. Not me. I haven't been in prison, but I currently do have a son that's in prison today.
Mm,
He is in prison. He was sentenced to quite some time in prison. He went back in the early 2000s,
mm.
and he's been in there. And I can say that he's in there for murder. Um, he was stuck with a big charge, a very big, you know.
Yeah.
There were the people with him, but Jarrell, they got off like that. Like, I mean, it was nothing. So,
It's
um,
usually the ones with money or those that tell get out quicker
yeah,
or
that's
see the
exactly
order.
what happened. You're absolutely right. That's exactly what happened. Um, they were, they told it. They only got 5 years. My son got 28. Yeah, yeah. And so he in his 20s, he went in. He went in his 20s. But you tell me about the inside of the system. Tell me, how does that work? And tell me, when did you go? How old were you?
So I was I didn't start getting into trouble till I hit 22 around there. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I turned 23, I did 18 months in work. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and we have a workhouse in the county. The county got shut down. That's where they send the serious offenders, and the workhouse is where they flooded everybody. So it was like, let me see, one, two bunk beds, two, four, six, eight, 10, 12, 12 bunk beds, but the pod held at least 24 inmates. It was
Ooh,
so overly populated.
ooh.
So I really didn't get a sin. It was just nothing but fighting. Angry, you get a bunch of, like, if you get a whole bunch of red ants and a whole bunch of black ants and put them all in a jar, they'll be cool. But as soon as you shake that jar, somebody shakes that jar up, oh, it's chaos. It's
Wow.
chaos. So it was very chaotic. And then I got out 8 months, and this was like 98. In the fall of 98, I became what they call a stick up boy, robbing doughboys and kicking in. Yeah. Yeah. And then
A
I ended up
stick-up boy?
yeah, that's what we call a street stick up boy, robbery boy,
Oh, okay, got you, got you.
stick up kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
That was the role that I played in the dope gang. Everybody
Okay.
has a different role.
Mhm.
Anyways, so I end up going to, prison for getting sentenced to 14 years at 24 years old.
Mhm. Mm-mm.
Now, it was my halftime is when I got it together. But that first 7 years, I had to run into some walls. I had to
Yeah.
go through some things, and time was doing me. And when a
Wow.
child never heard "I'm proud of you" or anything like that,
Yes.
because you got to give a
Mm.
person a reason to be proud, just as you give a person a reason to be disappointed. I disappointed my mother a lot. So when I got my GED, I was like, I got to do something with my life. Change don't come
Mhm.
till you're tired. So after the first 3 years, I ended up kind of like getting under some OGs. They call it putting somebody up under their wing. Come here. Let me teach you something.
Uh-huh.
When I got in that position, it was the first time in my life that someone actually cared. And then that made me care, and I wanted to make my mom proud. And when I got my GED in prison, she, for the first time that I can remember, she said, "I'm proud of you," and that
That's
just lit
good.
something in me. And I went from there and I started working on myself. I would go to the hole, and so a lot of times, and when you're isolated, a person be like, "Oh, I'm bored and I got to find something to do." No, no, it's designed for you to sit back and get your mind together, and that's what I did.
Okay.
But
Okay.
inside of prison, they offer, as far as the prisons and themselves, they offer programs to help you. They have to, because they just can't
Okay.
house you like they want to. But the
Right.
programs is for show that we're trying to help
Okay.
them. But the goal of it is to really to get you to come back. Because I know in Ohio they get 35,000 a year for each inmate times 14. I actually was 2 months away from doing a full 14 because of good time and educational things, probably whatnot. But it ain't their job to. It's their job, but it's not their job to rehabilitate an inmate. It's their job to give them tools. You can teach a you can lead me to water, but you can't make me drink.
That's right. Yep.
So they have the
Yep.
water, but a lot don't take advantage of it because it's really about you self rehabilitating yourself. Excuse me,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
tongue twister.
yeah,
Self
yeah.
rehabilitating yourself. And if you don't do
Right,
that and take
right.
advantage, then you're not going to be winning the game, and you're going to get put out, and you're going to come right back, and you're going to be one of those ones that got multiple numbers.
So tell me, how is it now that you are working and doing being a community activist now?
Well, it takes a village, and
Mm-hmm.
whether it's my village or if any village I'm a part of, then I'm gonna play my role. And with that being said, getting out at 38 and missing a whole decade and a half of learning life, because that's what you do with life, you learn.
Yeah.
I didn't relate with people my age. And here
Oh,
I am 11 years later, I still
yeah.
don't really relate. I related more with the young. And I realized I'm very observant through a spiritual aspect that gift that God had given me. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
I have different insights and I see things. And what I saw in her was that the young don't have nobody to look up to. They really
Yeah.
don't. And a lot of
Yeah.
old people will be like, young is so disrespectful. Well, we live in the new times where it's not like the old times. In the old times, respect was automatic, no matter who it is. This could be 1954, and a white man can come in here or a white cop can come in here and call me a nigga and call me a boy and put his hands on me, and I still got to be respectful. But let that happen now, we're not going for it. We match energy. The young people match energies. And there's a conflict of interest to where the young people are looking at the elders as they should as an example, and they're not being impressed or even seeing anything. So the lack of respect. If you're beating your child and talking crazy to him, I can't respect you as a parent. As I'm a parent, I can't
Mhm.
respect you. But if I see you talking to her and talking to that child and handling that child with care and understanding
Mhm.
and open heart and whatnot,
Yeah.
that's going to gain more respect. So a lot of that
Okay.
comes from I
Okay. I
realize
like
that I get a lot of
that.
respect
I
from the
like that.
elders. So I have to, with great power come great responsibilities. And I use the barbershop as a way of a training ground. to interact and learn how to talk. And I use podcasts as a
Okay.
way of practicing to be able to speak into the public and things of that nature, which is all comes into God's plan to, for whatever He designed me to be. So I go out, 2020,
Yeah. So
I
tell
got
us
involved.
about that. Yeah.
2020, I got involved with the
Yeah. Go
community.
ahead. Tell us about that.
When they had the George Floyd and the activists and the
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
protesters in 2020, I got involved in
Mm-hmm.
that, and I saw the ability to lead, lead others. And there was a bunch of young people
Mm-hmm.
downtown in Columbus, Ohio, that formed this group. That just all came down there in anger, like everybody in the world was coming in anger. What's going on? Let's protest. Black Lives Matter and all that. No justice, no peace. And then this group of young 20-year-olds came together and formed this big old group called Black Freedom. Shout out to Black Freedom.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
And they were all for the right thing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny how after things happen and the dust settles, you can sit back and you can just see things that you couldn't see while you was in a moment. And what I
Mm-hmm.
saw was, imagine, you got, what's your oldest child? How old?
He is 33.
Okay, imagine him at 18, 19, 20, around there, becoming a grown man, and he's still living with you, and he come to you and your husband like, I got a list of things that I think that y'all should think about changing on how y'all run this
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm older and blah, blah, blah. And he has this list, right? Now, if
Yeah.
it's just y'all in the house, you're going to tell him, if you don't like it, you can get up out of here. This, we ain't changing
Right.
nothing. You can't
Right.
have no girls over. You can't be coming in at 3 in the morning. You can't, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
We have a structure here.
Right.
Now, how would your energy be if you got the big brother in the eyes of the world by social media watching you? If you don't handle it
Yeah.
according, they're going to be on you. So you got to sit down and entertain the situation, even though in the
Mm-hmm.
back of your mind, you ain't moving. This is just
Right.
this a pass. And that's how the officials played these young people. And me being an elder, they came to me looking for leadership and guidance because they just, just like you saw me, you was like, whoa, let me see something. They were interested in that too. And I started seeing things. And make a long story short, it was all just play. It was just play. It
Mm.
was a waste of time. And you see nothing change. The smoke, the
Yeah.
fire done died down, the smoke then got clear, and we on to the same. Ain't nothing changed. Because pretty soon, I mean, like cops is gonna stop killing brothers. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody getting their butt, somebody's getting beat right now as we speak, or somebody probably just got shot or lied on, or whatever the case may be, as we
Mm.
speak right now.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And the same thing, I'm in Charlotte, you're in Ohio. And like I stated at the beginning of the show, in regards to sexual abuse and sex trafficking, if you look at the news, you see it almost every day. Every day. It's so common now that people see it and say, "Oh," the same thing with shooting and killing our young people. Oh, no, something needs to be done. We
Something has
need
to be done. Yeah.
out. We need to shout it out. We need to talk to these people. And whether, like you said, you're in a leadership role, people are looking at you. They want to know you were incarcerated. How did you get out of that situation? So, from my understanding, you took your barber courses while you were incarcerated.
Yes.
Okay.
And it wasn't by design. Like I was so one time it was like 2009 or maybe 8, and I was in the lunch line and it was full because they were serving something good, and I had like maybe 80 people ahead of me, so I had time to think. And when I'm in an isolated situation, you could be in a room full of people but still be by yourself, and
Yes,
that's
you can.
always been me. And I just start looking around, and it just hit me like we are all in this facility in this situation for the same reason, our
Mm,
thinking. So I gotta change my mindset because that's where it all starts. Because my
mm-hmm.
mind controls my body. My mind
Mm,
tells me don't drink this. I'm not gonna drink it. If it tells me to
right.
drink it, I'm gonna drink it. So I had to reprogram myself, and I just change don't come till you tired. So I end up realizing that there's only two ways that a time can happen in prison. Time can either do
Mm-hmm.
you or you can do the time. I got tired of
Okay.
doing the time because the time was just doing it was whooping me. It was whooping me. So, life will give you lemons and you know what to do with it if you know what to do with it. So I started making me some lemonade. And I was like, I gotta get something out. I got my GED. Now I gotta take because they had a design by the governs that be that you have to have a certain amount of time in before you can take college courses and courses, trades and things like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Because
Uh-huh.
back in the day, they didn't have no limits on it, and people was just getting degree after degree. You got a bunch of smart niggas getting smarter, street smart and book
Okay.
smart. So we gotta cut that out. So I
Yeah.
decided to put in two kites. I believe in putting everything in God's hands, and God has a plan. God, I believe my life is like a DVD player. I can rewind it and all my memories
Mhm.
and things I went in my past. I can push play and just let it play out, but I can't fast forward it. What good is a movie that if you've seen it
Mm.
3, 4 times, or it just takes out the original excitement. So I just push play and I, set it up and let it go. I put in two kites, and that is communicate by way of inmates' way of communicating with staff people in offices and school departments and all that stuff to let them know we want to talk to you, or we're interested in working or getting into school. So I put on a HVAC and a barber, like for barber school,
Mhm.
and whichever came back
Okay.
first, that's what I was going with. Barber school came back
Oh.
first. Thank God. And it was all by the greater God's design, because I didn't know at the time, but you know, after I rewind my tape and did my little research
Mhm.
by asking questions, because through understanding, in order to get understanding, you have to communicate. So I found
Yes.
out that it's in my Sattler blood, my mother's side of the family. It's in that bloodline to do hair. All the way back to my great grandfather, he was a barber,
Okay.
and I had no clue.
Okay. Oh wow, you didn't even know.
I didn't even know.
That's
All
awesome
my
right
aunts,
there.
my mom's sisters, they do hair, and I remember them doing hair. They all do each other's hair. My daughter does hair. My
Oh,
granddaughter does hair. My cousin's the barber down in Cincinnati. I just taught my other cousin here how to cut hair, and it's just, yeah, hair is in our DNA.
that is cool. That is good. That's good. That's good. So mentioning your children. So you how many children you have and how old are they?
I have 5 children, two baby mothers. One is the oldest is 31. They're all 2 years apart. The
Okay.
first three. I got two boys who's 31, the other one's 29. Then I got a 27-year-old daughter, a 24-year-old daughter, and I have a 9-year-old daughter who'll be 10
You
next
have
month.
a 9-year-old.
Yeah,
Oh. Oh, look at this. Oh, so
yeah.
cute. Look at her. Oh Lord,
They
she's
have the
grown.
same. They have the same mother.
Okay. All right. That's cool. That is cool. So, with you being incarcerated and your children out here in the world, what are some of the things that you did to encourage them if you were able to encourage them? Did the mothers support you while you were in there? They knew you made a mistake and now they are like, okay, let's make sure dad's still involved. You shaking your head. No. What's going on? What happened?
Oh God, man, it's a nightmare come true. It couldn't even be a nightmare because nightmares are dreams. I could never dream this experience. I had no clue that it was going to be here. Things in life would do one or the other things. It'll either make you or break you. And that
Mm.
whole situation broke everything.
Wow.
Kids, the baby moms. It was like I get out when I'm 38, so we all in our late 30s, and it was like all the pain and anger that they had, they waited for me to come home to and gave it
Wow.
to me. Oh, they
So
gave it to
the
me.
whole time that you were in there, you never talked to their
I
children or
seen
them?
them. Well, I did 13 years and 10 months, and out of those 13 years and 10 months, I would say hour wise, I probably got to spend, including phone conversations, no more than 15 hours.
Mm.
That's throughout the period, and I go years without seeing or hearing from them. My oldest baby mother, my first one, she thought she was slick and tried to slide in my last 6 months and bringing visits. I got more visits them 6 months than I did the whole, 10, 14 years or 13 years. So trick no good. And then when I came home, my first summer, I found out that I had got my ex-wife pregnant, because I
Oh,
thought I could come back to her and we can get back together.
reconnect. Mm-hmm.
Nah, it didn't work out. And she would, keep the baby from me and tell our oldest two to don't tell your dad where I'm at, because she would just house hop. She was like a gypsy. couldn't stay stable. I'm talking like over 20 different ad roofs that she was under in, the 8 years that, during that 8 year period. So,
Mm-hmm.
she's once my daughter came and I told her, I was like, because I heard a lot of things about her. She drunk during pregnancies. And,
Oh,
one of her kids is in, really messed up over that.
yeah,
She didn't,
yeah,
well, my first two, she didn't because I didn't drink. I was a good boy. Go to
yeah,
work, come home. I got a family. I got a son, a daughter, and a fiance. Yeah.
yeah.
And kept it simple. So we didn't do none of that. But when I left, she fell apart and got hooked to alcohol. And that triggered because a lot of times alcohol is, it's in your DNA because
Mm,
it gets passed down. It's hereditary. Her dad had the issues that she ended up
mhm,
having. Like I said, the apple don't fall far from the tree. So, that played a big role. And she would basically kidnapped my child because we were still married. And she talked me into going into because she asked me. My daughter is 2014 November February. I would say it was the Thanksgiving of 2016. She called me and was like, "I need you to step up."
mhm,
So yeah, I ended up getting my daughter, and she was in the shelter, and she talked us into going in the shelter because I needed a place. I was with the girl. I wasn't about to use her. I had to leave her, so I went out into the wilderness until I found my way, and ended up getting my daughter in the process of finding myself, and ended up going into the shelter with her, and she kidnapped her there, and I was like, you know what, I'm going downtown because I'm tired of this.
mhm.
I went downtown and, thank God the bailiff was a understanding sister because a lot of times you would think that if you're dealing with people of our color, that judge and bailiff and, they'll help a man be a father, be a dad because every father ain't a dad.
Mm,
Every male that has a child is a
wow.
father. But everyone that every father isn't a dad. So I'm coming to the courts as a black father that there's not a lot that does this trying to be a
Yeah.
dad. And thank God, because I've had stories. My brother told me he went and did the same thing for his child. And he said he
Mhm.
had so much difficulties from sisters in
Wow.
charge, not trying to help him out, giving him the hard way. And yeah, but thank God that I wasn't in that position because the bailiff she gave me instructions. She said, y'all still married. If you find her, when you get her in her arms, you do not have to let go. And I did what I did. The Lord
Yep.
did what the Lord did and set it all up. And on her third birthday, because I missed her first, her first birthday I missed it. Her second one, her mother took her to Arizona. Didn't even tell me
Wow.
for 8 months. And then the third one, I had her in my arms, but she was asleep. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
didn't let go. And to
That's
this day,
good.
I still got her.
That is wonderful. How old? And now, how old will she be next month?
10 years old.
Oh, she'll be 10. That is
I've had
wonderful.
her since she was
That's
two.
good. That's good. That's good. So we chatted a little bit about that. It's so important I believe it's so important for the parents to get along. And if they cannot get along, then there should be a mediator between the two and be able to work situations out. My husband and I, we've been married for 14 years. And the first 10 years of our marriage, it was very horrific for him not to see his children because some of the things that you mentioned. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, 5 years ago, she passed away. And it shouldn't have taken death for her to, for the children to be released, I'll say to him. So now, you have these itty bitty children who were like 10 and 9. Now they're 19,
Mm.
17, 19. So
And
now
that's
they,
hard.
yeah,
That could be hard because they're already groomed into from being up under her, and y'all got to clean all that out and install. You got to clean house within, and that can
yeah.
be difficult. And hopefully, it's not as difficult as it could be for y'all.
Well, yeah, it is fun. I would say that because I have four, he has two. So his son, which is my bonus baby. I never say stepchildren because God
Right.
doesn't step in anything.
I like that.
Yeah, he doesn't. So I say my bonus baby. So my bonus baby, he says we are the Brady Bunch family because we have three boys and three girls, and
Yeah,
honey, we
yeah.
have a
That
good time. We take it and we turn it around. We don't, one thing that we don't talk negative about her because we didn't know her after those 10 years. He knew what he knew with being married to her. Who knows what happened? We just know that he didn't get to see her. We know that his paychecks were gone. For a minute I had to hold on to everything for a minute, a hot minute. And
mm,
I was like, I got it, no problem. I'm not, there's no way we're going to work this out. We prayed a lot, and I kept telling him that God said that you're going to see the children. There were days that being a man, a lot of people think that men are so strong, they so bold and all. No, men go through emotions too.
we're
Men have
human.
those. That's
We are
right.
human. We are all
Yeah,
human. Y'all, we have the
right.
same emotions y'all have. We're no different. Only thing that's different is that society has given us reasons to withhold, hold those issues and those emotions
Hmm.
inside, and that's not
Hmm.
healthy. That is
Yeah, it's
not
not
healthy
at
for any human being. And
all. Hmm.
yeah, to be a man can't, to be a man don't cry and men don't, suck it up. Like, no, that's not what a man. Y'all are being taught what a man is wrong. That is
Right.
not a man. A man is going to be able to express himself and not let his emotions get the best of him, because that's why you have these emotional men having outbursts and just being mad and beating on women and taking their anger out
Hmm.
on them and all that, man. No, it's bottled up. It's like a balloon. Keep blowing hot air into it. And eventually if you don't let none of that out, and you keep blowing it, it's going to explode.
Yeah, it's gonna
That's human
pop.
nature.
Yeah, and I mean that, watching him go through what he went through and helping me raise my children. I still have my children, so here's this man. He can't see his children. He don't know where his children are, and here he is helping me with mine.
And
He
that's
will
hard on
never
a
see.
man. That is
Mm-hmm.
very hard because I go through that. I got, in the 8 year, the 10, 11 years that I've been a barber, I've accumulated so many young little kids.
Mm.
Like it started from 4 all the way to 6, I mean, all the way to 8. And
Mm-hmm.
I would have like sleepovers with a whole bunch of 8 year olds. I'm dressing up in Spider-Man outfits and going to their birthday parties and all this. And,
Funny.
I'm getting all these requests for the kids for me to be at their parties and this, that, and other, but I still got like maybe 10 grandkids who I'm not a part of their lives. And I'm doing for these, and because majority of them, I would say like 95% of the little young boys that I have that come into my world and I meet, they don't have a dad or a father figure, as and they look at me as their father figure, or situations like that. Big old, what they call me, an OG, big unk, big bruh. They look at me like that. So I
Yeah, that's
understand that's
great.
hard. You doing for other kids that aren't really yours, and you can't even do for your own. That's hard
Yeah,
on a man.
right. Yeah. I am so glad to hear you say that with the community. Do you ever have conversations in regards to what I mentioned our organization does? Do they talk to you? Have you ever thought about doing
Listen, oh
that?
my God. One thing I realized, and the problem with the older generations, and when it comes to the younger generations, the older don't understand the young. Why? Because in order to have some understanding, you gotta what? You gotta communicate. You gotta listen. And they don't want to. So them kids shut down. And when they realize that they have that in me, you hear things like, I didn't have me or you growing up, and whatnot. So they start opening up. And the females, I'm connected more with the females because I'm like, when I'm, being in prison around men all the time, and then being a barber, I'm around men all the time. On my off time, I need that feminine energy to balance that off. I've been testosterone filled all day, all my life. I need that estrogen to balance. I'm a Libra
Right,
now.
right,
Let's
right,
make
right,
it make
right,
sense. But I've heard so many countless stories from women about being raped and the different stories, and they just, and this is how I know I got a female's attention. She's all the way comfortable. She'll get so comfortable and talking to me. She'll be like, "And girl, I tried. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to call you that." I'll be like, "It's okay. You just comfortable. I get it."
Yes, comfortable. That is so
Yeah,
good.
but the
I agree with
story,
you. Mm-hmm.
oh, the worst story that I heard was the kids was like maybe 8 and 7 year old girls in the bed sleep, and a man went through the window, came in, did what he did to them, and then killed them.
What? 8 and 7, and he killed him. Oh no.
And for a mother to express that, because this is what I do. I network and connect through podcasts. It's different. This is probably like my 55th podcast episode, and I've been on like this is probably my 20th different platform.
Mhm.
So I'm talking to a lot of people, and I'm like you. We can pull things out of people. You can ask one question, and the comfortability will open up, and they'll dive in. So yeah, talk. It's just
How was that,
hurtful.
London? How what what was her, I'm trying to think of the way to ask this question. When you talked with her and she was open, has she been through counseling? How long ago
She went through
was it?
this was years. This was decades. You know,
Okay, that
she's
was.
like in her pushing her 50s. So
Oh,
she's done what most people do in this situation on the podcast community because we're all a community.
okay.
They
Hmm.
take what they got and make something bigger, like
Yes.
the Amber Alert
Hmm.
situations like that. John, what was that? America's Most Wanted when his son, and then he became. Yeah, that's what you do. God
Yeah.
puts us through things that at the moment we don't understand. But you just
Yeah.
gotta trust that everything happens for a reason and God has a plan.
Yeah, he has a plan. I always tell people that a lot of people say, "Well, how did you forgive?" I told them that I was always told by my grandmother, my great grandmother, my mom, you don't hate anyone. You know, of course, the scare was you're not going to get into heaven. But now I don't have hatred, and I never had hatred for them. I felt sorry for them because they had some kind of issue in their life that caused them to come and move that forward. But I broke the chain. Because I broke the chain, now I am moving out here. Like you just said, we're a community. Now that we're a community, we got to go out there and let people know it's okay to talk. It's okay to go to counseling. Don't hold that bottled up in you because it's going to build up anxiety. It's going to build up depression. It's going to build up anger. And
Right.
then you want to know in relationships, you can't be in a relationship if you're not completely healed
Healed.
yourself.
Right. You end up bleeding on somebody else, an innocent
Yeah.
person. See, and that's what needs to be done. We need to focus more on mental, emotional health.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then I look at it like the Old Testament and the New Testament. In the Old
Mm-hmm.
Testament, it was told, men ain't supposed to bottle that up, and you can't talk about this, and it was your fault, and
Yep.
situations like this ain't your real father. For me, this ain't your real father, and I'm at the age of 12, 13, and that's it. And I'm supposed to deal with no counseling and talks need to be done. You need to take in consideration that I am human, and things like that can really psychologically mess up a human if they don't have nobody to talk to. So what we are doing is we're starting a whole movement towards the future because 20 years, 2 decades, 3 decades, and forward, that thinking is going to be gone.
Yeah.
And men will understand that we are human beings. So forget what you're talking about. I'm going to connect because there are networking groups out there designed for brothers to connect. I'm a part of a lot of them. So there's
Mm-hmm.
groups that are
My
being
husband
formed
is
to give
too.
out that information to men. Women,
Yep.
it's not necessary for women because y'all got y'all sisters y'all can confide in and this and another.
You
But
I
a
heard
man
that.
don't have that because he can go to another brother and that brother would judge him. Oh man, you need to suck it up. I remember the first time I had an episode in front of my brother, it was just the weight of the world. I just came home to this new world. I'm confused. I'm beefing with my family members. Everything, nothing's working out. And I just broke down crying because my balloon busted. And I had
Yeah,
emotional
yeah.
breakdown. He gave me the vibe of like he was ready to say, nigga, you better suck those tears up. Like I was supposed to roll those tears back into my face. Like no understanding, no comfort, no, it's gonna be all right, no brotherly love, none of that. Because, and I'm not faulting him, but that's how him and a
That's
lot of
why he was.
simple-minded
Yeah,
men were
yeah,
designed. So
yeah.
we are moving forward with this and showing them, and we gotta keep pushing and pushing and pushing and try to get people to understand that it's okay. And then
Yes.
with that, with men ain't having men can't go to another brother for the situation to talk to and relieve this pain. They'll go to a woman, their woman that they think they woman. And a lot of times, what happens when that woman is mad, she'll throw it up in his face.
All in
So
his
now I
face.
can't
She's
talk to
not
nobody.
mature. Yeah, if she's not mature,
Right.
she definitely will do
So
it.
with
She
great power come great responsibility, and we're all responsible for the power that God given us. And we
yeah,
don't use it or we mishandle it, that's gonna crumble a person. That's gonna make a person commit suicide because they
yeah.
just got so or hurt somebody else. Because hurt people hurt people. I know once I was able to start talking, and I would write like 20-page letters
Mm,
expressing my thoughts and my feelings back
mm.
and forth, back and 40-page letters of my
Yeah, yeah,
thoughts.
yeah.
And then when I came home, I started getting on the internet, and Facebook asks, "What is on your mind?" Oh, you don't. I'm the wrong person to ask that to. My posts be like that long, and it became therapy because I'm getting it out. People be like, "Oh, you're posting all personal stuff." It's mine. I can do what I want with it, and my
Mm.
mess is my message.
Oh,
MESS, add AGE to it, and you got message. This is what you
yeah.
don't do. You don't hold it in. You express it. And if you don't hold it, if you hold it in, you're end up
Mm.
going to hurt people because you're hurt. This is what I had to do. This is my mess, but here's my message. So giving
Wow,
back to the
that's
community is
good.
what God put me on this earth to do. Give back because somebody has to do it. Because the men in our community aren't doing it. So therefore, the sisters got to pick up the slack. And that's why they got this independent thinking and I don't need a man and I ain't got no choice but to do it by myself. And look, I ain't going to get into all that.
Yeah, they do, but it comes from them have being hurt too. It comes from them being hurt too.
You're hurting.
So
Everybody's
I
hurting
mean,
somebody.
yeah, and if you don't open up and get the help that you need, then what's going to happen is you're going to continue to hurt. You're going to hide from what it is that you need to deal with. During that situation with me, when that happened to me, I didn't tell anyone as a child. I told them, I told someone, and they told my mom. I held it in for 6 months. I didn't tell anyone for 6 months
How were you?
that I was molested from the age 3 all the way up till I was like 10. I was molested by several uncles, and I was raped by one. And so I didn't have counseling. I grew up in a home with verbal violence, physical violence. My dad, he hit on my mom. He cursed us out, cursed her out. So I'm not going to go home and tell my dad anything about what his brother did. You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell my mom what her brother did because it happened on both sides of the family. And so when it came out at 14 that, I waited 6 months, and here I told somebody about it. They called my mom before I got home from school, told my mom. My mom was so hurt. And I had seen my mom go through so much hurt with my dad. I didn't want her to be hurt again. So now here I am, a child, taking on adult responsibility on my back. That weight is heavy. And I would never want another child to go through that. And it's a wonderful thing that you have meetings with these young boys, young girls. You talk to them and you let them know it's all right. You can cry, you can scream, you can do whatever you need to do to get this out. But let's get it out and let's talk about this. Let's see how we can come up with a solution.
Solution.
Yeah,
Right.
I
The
love that.
solution.
And so now with the organization, I never thought that I would even do this. This is not something that I was sitting down right now. I'm gonna do this in the future. I never
Right.
would have thought about this. But like you said earlier, look how God set stuff up. My pain, the pain that I went through, the hurt the turmoil that I went through, is now a conversation of joy because now I know those
Hmm.
DMs that I get. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to go get counseling. Thank you for being honest. And I'm one of those, I'm just real.
Right.
I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I'm just real. And I'll tell people, they're like, how did you get over it, God? How did you get God? So
God
you
and the
didn't
belief
get,
in you.
yeah,
Belief
did
in
you get
yourself.
counseling? No, I didn't get counseling. If they didn't believe in counseling, back in the old day, was in this
They
house,
still
stay in
they
this
still
house.
struggling now. They still struggling now. But
And you just can't
that's a
do
whole
it.
nother
Right,
episode
right,
right there. That's
exactly,
a
right.
serious episode that needs to be, you know what I'm saying, brought to the table. Because what are professionals here for? There's here to help other human beings. If you need a professional to work on your car, you're gonna take it to one. If you got health issues, physical health, you're gonna go get a checkup. You know, one thing I ask everybody that I come encounter with, that I have, you know, that I know, that I've gotten to know, and it throws them off when, because they've never heard this question. How's your mental health?
Yes.
How's your mental health?
Hmm.
Like, humans need to start asking that, and you get a surprise like, huh? Why it's like that? Because no one cares enough to ask about someone's mental health.
That's right.
How
You're
you
absolutely
doing? Oh, I'm good. I'm good. You know, yeah, of course we know you good. How's your mental health?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna got a little. You get things like, yeah, it's got a little better. You know, it's getting there, and you know, it's good. It's at a good place. It's some work. You know, you get response like that because it's
Mm-hmm.
refreshing to hear somebody say. One person can change the game for another person just by
Mm-hmm.
saying the right things. You ain't got to
Yeah.
say. You just ask the right. Show that you care. That's it. Just
Yeah.
show that you care.
How you really doing today? Stop playing. Stop playing with me. How you doing? How
I
you
read your
really
posts.
doing?
I read your
Right.
posts. I see
Right.
it. I'm not. Come on now. This is me
Yeah.
you talking to. Ask
Right.
yourself why he asked me that.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. We got to start doing that more and more. Back to the incarceration. I just want to add this in there because I did say my son earlier that he's in there. He is doing like you a lot of things that you said when he first got in there. You know, he was in a gang and all this stuff before he went. So the initiation to get into this gang, that's how he ended up in there, because that was one of the things he had to do. But when he first got in there, just like you, he was in there in that hole. Every time I turn around, like, oh my God. And so now, it's going on 10 years now. He calls me. We have great conversation. He lets me know everything is good, and I talk to him, and he'll call me every three days now, or either if he doesn't call me within 3 days, you best believe by that Saturday he gonna call me, or either
Right.
he'll call me on a Sunday. And so, but he does talk to me. He lets me know some stuff that's going on. He said, "Mama, you wouldn't believe the stuff I seen." I said, "Yeah, it's prison. I'm quite sure you've seen a lot."
Yeah.
He's been moved quite a bit, but he's doing good. When you were in there, they was just starting to do some changes and stuff like that. I will say with him, he told me the other day that they can't even go out to eat what they call a child. They can't even go out. They give it to them. I said, "Well, what's the purpose of the cafeteria? What?" He said, "Yeah, they bring us our food now." I was like,
Yeah,
"Really?"
things always change. Things change,
Yeah.
and it's they're practicing things in the prison before they bring it out in society. That's
Mhm.
just, you know, a note.
That's
That's a note,
good.
like serious.
Oh
It's about to go
wow.
down with, you know, AI is about to come in. There's gonna be a lot of people in the households, and it's gonna feel like prison.
Wow.
It really
Wow.
is.
Mm.
Controlled
I
movement.
didn't think about that.
15-minute cities. I think it's called 15-minute cities. They got this new
Mm.
thing coming on where they have everybody, you know, in your house, and there's controlled movement. Like, it's about to look. We ain't gonna get onto that. That's enough. Look, I got so many episodes that we can talk about,
I
but
see.
it's
Listen.
all training and control for the insides of the prisons to bring on the outsides. Because,
Wow.
like I said, when AI gets into effect within the next 15 years, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Wow. That is something. But yeah, none of my children, I don't have any grandbabies. I told God I really don't want to do that because if I have a I love children so much. I'll be done snatch the grandbaby up and the baby will be mine. I love children. I love, love, love children.
Yeah.
I've always been around youth my whole life, and I commend you for what you are doing. I want you to keep going at it, keep powering at it, keep doing that podcast. I am so excited about what you are doing. I mean, like I was like, okay, let me check him out. So I have this one more thing, and I'm gonna let you tell us about this. So you mentioned not on here with me, but I saw where you mentioned I over emotions, and then you said we sometimes we have it backwards, and we
Yeah.
do the emotions before the intelligent part. Did I get
Right.
it right? I got it
Yes, she
right.
did. Get it, girl.
Go
Get
ahead.
it,
Go ahead.
girl. She
Okay.
oh she eating that popcorn on popping. Okay then. I see you do your research.
Yes. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I over
Tell us
E
what
is
it
a tool. Now, like you give tools to help navigate through situations that you've been through.
is.
So your mess becomes a message of a tool. You're gonna need this tool because it worked for me. So anyway, I took
Mm-hmm.
a mental tool from prison from a class called critical thinking, and they
Okay.
spoke about I over E. Now I took that and I expanded on it. So you normally, like for example, young my aunt once told me people in glass houses shouldn't cast stones, and this is at 22. I didn't know what she said was talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
you not only when we give an egg or a gem or drop a dime on someone young, we got to explain it and break it down. So I
Yeah.
over E, there's two ways we think: intelligently, logically, and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, most humans we use every human, not most, every
Every.
human. E over I. For example, you get into a situation and you become emotional and you do some emotional, you act off of emotions. And
Mm-hmm.
it's never really good when you're acting off emotions. So after that,
Mm-hmm.
every human being done went through this. After
Mm-hmm.
emotions die down, because you don't stay
Mm-hmm.
in your emotions. And if you're not in your emotions, you're in your intelligence. If you're not in your intelligence, you're in your emotion state. When
Okay.
emotions die down, you start thinking intelligently, breaking stuff down, and you come to this point where you like, I shouldn't have did that. I was wrong. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what I was thinking,
Mm-hmm.
or you telling somebody else that. So
Mm-hmm.
the goal is to always be in your intelligence and have control over your emotions, right? For example, I always tell this and break it down to young people, females and males, but really males, because the female species are y'all complex. Y'all are
Mm-hmm.
hard to understand. In order to
Mm-hmm.
deal with y'all and handle y'all correctly, we got to have some type of idea on what y'all got going on with you. Otherwise, it's going to be bad. So
Right.
females are between the male and the females creatures. Females are more emotional.
Yeah.
Y'all from Venus love because y'all about emotions. So
Fact.
a lot of females think emotionally because they always speak on I feel. Well, I feel, I think this, that, but men are just like facts are facts. Numbers
Yeah.
don't lie. And this is
Right.
this. We're more logic. We're supposed to be more logic. Again, emotional intelligence. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I always tell a male, because every male ain't a man until you start acting like a man. I
Mm.
always tell a male that you can't get emotional with a female. If a female is, then got mad or whatever the case, she's being all, going off and whatnot. If you drop down there with her, you both gonna be emotional and nothing's good. So you have
I
to stay
see.
up in your intelligence and pull her out, pull
Yes.
her up into this, and you know what I'm saying. And it goes vice versa because sometimes a woman has to stay up there and bring him out of his feminine emotional rage. Like we're not about to do that. You're not about to talk to me like that. If we can't yell, if we're gonna yell, then we can't talk. And they do one thing I can't stand is talk at the same time because it's seemingly impossible for two human beings to talk at the same time. You're being emotional, and if you get out of your emotions and realize I make sense, then you'll be in your intelligence, and therefore we can have a conversation like adults. So a
Mm-hmm.
man, I think what makes a man is
Mm-hmm.
the more he has control of his emotions. Martin
Mm.
Luther King had a lot of control of his emotions because he
Oh
was
yeah.
like, if a man smack you, you turn the other cheek. That's a lot of control that
Yeah. Yeah.
billions of
He
men
did.
can't have.
Yeah. He dealt with a lot. Martin Luther King dealt with a
Yeah,
whole lot
he was a
behind
man's
his.
man.
Yeah. 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 Well, tell me this, Jarrell. Give us your information. How can we reach out to you? How can people reach you and contact you?
Well, my Facebook is currently removed, disabled. Yeah, and I'm focusing on me. This is a big year. Every year is a level. It's
Okay.
like a game. Life is a game to me, but it's a serious game, and there's a way to play it, and there's a way not to play it. And I'm ready to play the game on another level. So
Okay.
I disabled my Facebook because social media is very distracting. It can be,
It can be.
distracting.
Yes.
But you can reach me Facebook Messenger through
Mm-hmm.
Jorel, JOR-EL. My email is JorElLamar 21
Okay.
So
Okay.
you can
We'll post
contact
it.
me
We'll
through
get
there.
ready to post it. I'll make sure I put that up there.
Jarrell's World is through Facebook. It's just a combination of all my episodes that I've done over the
Okay.
years. So,
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your help. I mean, because you really helped us. You opened up and enlightened me. So I'm quite sure those that have watched the show that they will definitely be enlightened as well. Is there anything that I may have forgotten or that you wanted to mention on the show?
yeah, I like to say one thing, and this was a message to your son. You know, continue to make you proud. Focus on your mother's love because that right there can make a difference. That can be the ace in the deck that you need to play when you need to play it. And continue to grow because you're going to come back out home. You're going to come home. And when you come back
Mm,
home and get put back into the game, whenever it may be, you need to be ready and to continue to do what you need to do. You paid your way to society. You know what I'm saying? You paid your debt to
yeah.
society by doing the time. That continues from coming out. And each one teach one. It takes a village. Learn from all your mistakes and all the life lessons that life can give you so that you can become a better human being. And but main thing, use the foundation of your mother's love and build off of that. Make her proud. I promise you, you can't go wrong. That's it. Oh, and each one teach one. Since I got it, each one teach one. Kids are clay, and they need that. They're lost. The world is changing because they aren't following y'all's ways because y'all our way isn't their way. It ain't being taught to them for whatever reason. So now they're creating their own thing. You know, we're changing time. It's time for you to catch up with the new way. Otherwise, you're gonna be putting your feelings all the time because you're just stuck in the old ways. We're moving forward.
Wow.
We're
Wow.
moving forward. So you need to catch up
I
with the times.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I would definitely share that with my son. He is doing good. Like I said, I will let him know to keep going. He encouraged me on Sunday. He was like, "Mom," he said, "You doing so many good things. Mom, you done wrote a book. You got your own organization." He was like, "Mom, do you know how bad you are, Mama? You bad." My
And
baby.
feed pouring in him, deposit that into him. Because the apple don't fall far from the tree. He has a story. He
Yeah,
has a story to tell, and
yeah,
he
he
can make
does.
yeah
He's
make
telling me that.
lemonade out of those lemons.
Yeah, he said, Mom, when I get out, I got some stuff. He said, I'm not gonna talk about it on the phone, but I done seen some things, I know some things, but I'm not gonna tell you on the phone. He said, I can't tell you on this phone. He said, but
Yeah,
Mom, when I get out, we gonna talk, Mom. And I'm like, okay, all right, baby, all right, we'll talk. Well, thank you so much, Darrell. I appreciate you. I might have to get you back up here again, man, so we
yeah,
could. We got too
yeah,
many subjects we need to talk about. Okay,
man.
we got too
Yeah, I'm
many.
ready.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you
Man,
too.
that is great. That is